I never imagined I'd be writing this post, but here I am at 2 a.m. trying to make sense of my life. I'm Maria, 52, and I've been married to Philip, 55, for the past 15 years. Philip has 2 kids from his previous marriage, Michael, 28, and Melanie, 26. Their mom passed away from cancer when they were young, and I came into their lives when they were 13 and 11. The beginning wasn't easy. Both kids were still grieving their mom, and I understood that. I remember the first time I met them, 2 scared, hurt children who looked at me like I was trying to replace their mother. I made it clear from day one that I wasn't there to replace anyone. I was just hoping to be another person in their life who cared about them. It took time, but slowly things changed. Michael was the first to warm up to me. It started with small things. He'd ask me to help with his homework, or he'd tell me about his day at school. Melanie took longer, but she came around too. By the time Philip and I got married, both kids stood with us at the altar. Over the years, we built a strong relationship. Michael especially and I grew close. He would come to me for everything, advice about school, relationship problems, career decisions. When he got his first heartbreak at 17, he cried in my arms for hours. When he got into his dream college, I was the first person he called. I attended every graduation, every achievement, every milestone. I was there when he started dating Maria, his now wife, and I helped him plan the perfect proposal. 5 years ago, when Michael wanted to start his own business, a tech consulting firm, he came to me first. He had a solid business plan but needed initial capital. I had inherited some money from my parents, and I believed in his vision. Without hesitation, I gave him $50,000 from my personal savings. Philip thought I was being too generous, but I saw it as an investment in my son's future. Michael promised to pay me back once the business took off, but honestly, I wasn't too worried about the money. I was just proud of him for chasing his dreams. The business did well initially. Michael worked hard, built a good client base, and things were looking up. He met Maria through a client, and they fell in love. I liked Maria from the start. She was kind, intelligent, and made Michael happy. When they got engaged 2 years ago, I helped plan the wedding. I spent countless hours with Maria, choosing decorations, tasting cakes, picking flowers. It felt like I was gaining a daughter. Then Lisa, Maria's older sister, entered our lives. From the moment we met at the engagement party, something felt off. Lisa was polite on the surface, but there was always an edge to her comments. She would make remarks about how stepmothers could never really love their stepchildren, or how second wives were just trying to erase the memory of first wives. I brushed it off at first, not wanting to cause drama before the wedding. The wedding itself was beautiful. I cried when Michael thanked me in his speech, calling me his second mom. Everything seemed perfect. Until it wasn't. A week after the wedding, Michael stopped answering my calls and texts. At first, I thought he was just busy with newlywed life. But then weeks passed, and still nothing. He blocked me on all social media. When I went to his house to check on him, Maria answered the door looking uncomfortable. She said Michael didn't want to see me and asked me to respect his wishes. I was devastated and confused. What had I done wrong? I racked my brain trying to think of anything I might have said or done to upset him. Philip tried talking to him, but Michael would only say that he knew the truth about me now and wanted nothing to do with me. Melanie was caught in the middle. She still came to visit me, but I could tell she was struggling with divided loyalties. Finally, 3 months after Michael cut contact, she told me what had happened. Lisa had told Michael that she overheard me at the wedding reception, talking to my friend Karen in the bathroom. According to Lisa, I had said I only helped Michael with his business to control him, that I never really loved him or Melanie, and was just using them to stay in their father's good graces. She claimed I said I couldn't wait for them to move away so I could have Philip to myself, and that I was glad their real mother wasn't around to interfere. I felt physically sick hearing this. These were vicious lies. I would never say anything like that. I love those kids like they're my own. The conversation Lisa claimed to have overheard never happened. I hadn't even gone to the bathroom with Karen that night. But Michael believed every word without even asking me about it. 15 years of love and trust, gone because of one person's lies. For 2 years, I watched from afar as he built his life. Maria gave birth to their son last year, my first step-grandchild. I wasn't allowed to meet him. I saw pictures on Melanie's phone when she visited. Every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering was incomplete. Philip would split his time between us, trying to maintain relationships with both his son and his wife. I felt guilty for putting him in that position, but I hadn't done anything wrong. Then last week, at 11 p.m., there was a knock at our door. I opened it to find Michael standing there. He looked terrible, tired, stressed, unshaven. His clothes were wrinkled, and he had dark circles under his eyes. Without preamble, he told me his business was failing. He had made some bad investments, trusted the wrong people, and now he was at risk of losing everything. He needed $100,000 to save his business. I stood there, looking at this young man who had believed the worst about me without a second thought, who had cut me out of his life for 2 years, who had denied me the chance to meet my grandchild, and now wanted my help. The same young man I had loved and supported for 15 years, who had once called me his second mom. I told him to leave. I said I was done being his backup plan, his ATM. He tried to explain that he was sorry, that he should have talked to me first, that he had been wrong to believe Lisa. But I didn't want to hear it. 2 years too late, I thought. Philip thinks I'm being too harsh, that this could be a chance to fix our relationship. Melanie says the same thing, that Michael was manipulated by Lisa, that he's sorry now. My friends are divided, some think I'm right to stand my ground, others say family is family and I should help him. The money isn't really the issue. Philip and I could help him if we wanted to. But I can't get past the betrayal. 2 years of silence, of missing out on his life, of crying myself to sleep wondering what I did wrong, and now he only comes back because he needs money? Am I wrong for refusing to help? Should I give him another chance? I don't know what to do anymore. Update 1: I never expected my last post would get so much attention. Thank you all for your support and advice. Unfortunately, things have gotten more complicated, and I need to get this off my chest. After I refused to help Michael, he went behind my back to Philip. I discovered this when I was paying bills last weekend and noticed a large withdrawal from our joint savings account. Philip had given Michael $50,000 without discussing it with me first. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. In 15 years of marriage, we'd never made major financial decisions without consulting each other. When I confronted Philip about it, he got defensive. He said he couldn't watch his son lose everything he'd worked for. He argued that as Michael's father, he had a right to help his child regardless of what happened between us. When I reminded him about our agreement to make financial decisions together, he said this was different because it was his son, not some random investment. The argument escalated quickly. I felt betrayed all over again, but this time by my husband. Philip accused me of being vindictive, of using the money to punish Michael. I told him he was enabling Michael's behavior, teaching him that he could treat people badly and still get what he wanted as long as he went to Daddy for help. Philip spent that night in the guest room. We barely spoke for 3 days. The tension in the house was unbearable. Melanie visited during this time and could tell something was wrong, but we tried to keep our problems to ourselves. We didn't want to put her in the middle any more than she already was. Then things took an unexpected turn. Melanie called me crying 2 days ago. She was upset because she'd just learned about more lies Lisa had been spreading. Apparently, Lisa hadn't stopped at just the wedding story. She told the entire extended family that I had manipulated Philip into marrying me for his money. She claimed I had tried to turn Michael and Melanie against their dead mother's memory by taking down her photos and refusing to let them talk about her. The worst part? Lisa told everyone I had threatened to divorce Philip if he helped Michael with his business. None of this was true. Philip and I had struggled financially in the early years of our marriage. I was a middle school teacher then, and he was just starting to rebuild his construction business after the 2008 crash. We worked hard for everything we had. As for their mother's memory, I was the one who helped the kids make a memory book about her. I spent weeks helping them gather photos and write down their favorite stories about her. The book sits proudly on our living room shelf to this day. But here's where everything changed. Michael's wife Maria finally broke her silence. She called me yesterday, crying and apologizing. She admitted that she had known Lisa was lying, not just about me but about other family members too. She had proof. Screenshots of text conversations where Lisa bragged about causing drama in families just for fun. In one message, Lisa wrote about how amusing it was to watch families fall apart because of her stories. Maria explained that she had wanted to speak up sooner, but Lisa had dirt on her family. Lisa had threatened to reveal some damaging information about Maria's father if Maria ever exposed her lies. Maria had kept quiet to protect her family, but she couldn't take the guilt anymore, especially after seeing how Lisa's lies had torn our family apart. Michael came to see me today, with Maria. They showed me everything, the text messages, the evidence of Lisa's manipulation. Maria had been collecting proof for months, documenting every lie, every manipulation. It was worse than I thought. Lisa hadn't just told one big lie at the wedding. For months before that, she had been feeding Michael small lies about things I supposedly said or did. She told him I complained about having to help with his business. She claimed I made fun of his relationship with Maria behind his back. She even convinced him I had tried to talk Maria out of marrying him. It was a systematic campaign to poison him against me, and it worked because he trusted her. She was his wife's sister, after all. Michael broke down crying when he saw all the evidence. He apologized over and over, saying he had been stupid and wrong. He admitted that deep down, he'd had doubts about Lisa's stories, But she had played on his insecurities so well. She reminded him that his birth mother hadn't lived to see him grow up, suggested that maybe I was just pretending to care about him to keep Philip happy. I sat there listening to all this, feeling numb. On one hand, I was relieved to finally understand why Michael had turned on me so completely. On the other hand, the pain of his betrayal felt fresh all over again. Yes, Lisa had manipulated him, but he had still chosen to believe the worst about me without even giving me a chance to defend myself. Philip was there too, listening to everything. He looked sick when he realized how thoroughly we'd all been manipulated. He apologized for doubting me, for giving Michael the money behind my back. He promised to get the money back from Michael. I'm still processing everything. The betrayal feels different now, it shifted from Michael to Lisa. But I can't forget how easily Michael believed the worst about me. 15 years of love and trust should have counted for something. Philip wants me to forgive Michael now that we know the truth. He says Michael was a victim too. But was he really? Yes, Lisa manipulated him, but he was a grown man who chose to believe lies about someone who had loved him for 15 years. He chose to cut me out of his life without a single conversation. He chose to deny me the chance to meet my grandchild. I don't know how to move forward from here. The truth is out, but the damage is done. How do you rebuild trust after something like this? Update 2: The situation has evolved in ways I never expected, and I need to share what's happened since my last update. After Maria exposed Lisa's lies, it was like opening floodgates. More family members started coming forward with similar stories about Lisa, and the picture that emerged was disturbing. Lisa's own brother Tom reached out to me. He explained that Lisa had done the same thing to his ex-wife Jenny 3 years ago. She had systematically fed Jenny and Tom lies about each other until their marriage fell apart. By the time they realized Lisa was behind everything, the damage was irreparable. They had already divorced, and Jenny had moved to another state with their kids. Maria's cousin Amy had a similar story. Lisa had almost ruined Amy's relationship with her parents by convincing them Amy was secretly addicted to drugs and stealing from them. The truth only came out when Amy's parents caught Lisa planting empty pill bottles in Amy's old room during a family gathering. Michael and Maria have completely cut ties with Lisa. It wasn't easy for Maria. Lisa is still her sister, but after learning about all the other families Lisa had hurt, Maria realized there was no other choice. Their parents are devastated, caught between their daughters. Lisa tried to turn them against Maria, claiming she was lying about everything, but the evidence was too overwhelming. The hardest part for me has been watching Michael try to make amends. He's been coming around more often, trying to rebuild what we lost. Last week, he finally brought his son, my grandson, to meet me. Looking at that beautiful baby boy, who is Michael's eyes and Maria's smile, I felt a mix of joy and profound sadness. I had missed his birth, his first smile, his first words. Those are moments I can never get back. Philip has been trying to fix things too. He managed to get the $50,000 back from Michael. It turns out Michael hadn't spent it yet. He was too guilty about taking it behind my back. Philip put it back in our joint account and promised never to make such big financial decisions without me again. He's been extra attentive lately, clearly trying to make up for doubting me. Michael's business is still struggling. The financial advisor he hired painted a pretty grim picture. Years of bad decisions and mismanagement have left the company deeply in debt. Michael admitted that he had been so distracted by the family drama that he made several poor business choices. He's trying to save what he can, but it looks like the company might not survive. What hurts the most is realizing how much time we've lost. Michael showed me videos of my grandson's first steps. I watched them alone in my room, crying over all the moments I should have been there for. Maria offered to make me copies of all their family photos and videos from the past 2 years, but it's not the same as having been there. The family dynamics have shifted completely. Melanie, who was caught in the middle for so long, is finally able to spend time with both Michael and me together. She admitted that keeping the peace between us had been exhausting. She had known something wasn't right about Lisa's stories but hadn't known how to prove it. Last Sunday, we had our first family dinner together in 2 years. It was awkward at first. None of us knew quite how to act around each other. The easy comfort we once had is gone, replaced by careful politeness and hesitant conversations. My grandson was the only one unaffected by the tension, happily bouncing between family members and bringing unexpected moments of joy to an otherwise strained evening. The hardest part has been dealing with my own feelings. I want to forgive Michael, but every time I look at him, I remember how quickly he turned on me. He had known me for 15 years, watched me love and support him through everything, yet he believed Lisa's lies without question. That kind of hurt doesn't just go away because we found out the truth. Michael keeps asking what he can do to make things right. The problem is, I don't know if anything can make this right. We can't go back in time. We can't undo the hurt, the lost moments, the broken trust. Sometimes I look at him and still see that angry young man who believed I never really loved him. Other times I see the boy I helped raise, who used to come to me with every problem, every joy. Philip thinks time will heal everything, but I'm not so sure. Some wounds leave scars that change us forever. I'm trying to move forward, but I don't know if things will ever be the same again. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and many of you have asked for another one. A lot has changed, and I've made some difficult decisions that I want to share. Michael's business finally failed last month. Despite his efforts to save it, the debts were too much to overcome. He had to let go of his employees and close the office. He's now working as a project manager at another tech company. The failure hit him hard. This was his dream, after all. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise. He's working regular hours now, spending more time with his family, and learning from his mistakes. Our relationship has settled into something I never expected. While we see each other at family gatherings, and I spend time with my grandson, the close bond we once shared is gone. I've accepted that some things can't be fixed, only rebuilt differently. Michael still tries sometimes. He'll call for advice or invite me to lunch, but there's always an undercurrent of tension, a reminder of what we lost. Philip struggled with my decision to maintain this distance. He wanted everything to go back to normal, for us to be one big happy family again. But after months of arguments and discussions, he's finally understood that normal isn't possible anymore. He's learned to respect my boundaries with Michael, even if he doesn't fully agree with them. Lisa tried to worm her way back into the family's good graces. She showed up at our door 3 months ago, crying about how she needed help. She claimed she had mental health issues, that she was seeing a therapist, that she never meant to cause so much pain. I shut the door in her face. Mental health issues might explain her actions, but they don't excuse them. She robbed me of 2 years with my family, and no amount of apologies or excuses can fix that. Maria and Michael had another baby 2 months ago. This time, I was there. I held my new granddaughter minutes after she was born. It was a beautiful moment, but it also reminded me of everything I miss with my grandson. Maria makes sure I'm involved in both children's lives now. She sends me daily photos and updates, invites me to every milestone. But sometimes, when I look at my grandson, I can't help but think of all the firsts I missed. Melanie got engaged last month. During the party, Michael gave a speech about family and forgiveness. Everyone cried and hugged, talking about how wonderful it was that we'd all moved past the drama. But they don't understand. It's not about holding a grudge. It's about acknowledging that some changes are permanent. Trust, once broken, might be rebuilt, but it's never quite the same. I've stopped feeling guilty about maintaining these boundaries. Yes, Michael was manipulated by Lisa. Yes, he's sorry now. But he made choices that showed me exactly how much he valued our relationship. 2 years of silence. 2 years of believing the worst about me. 2 years I can never get back. Philip and I are doing better now. The money issue was resolved, and we've set clearer boundaries about financial decisions. He stopped pushing me to fully reconcile with Michael, and I've stopped expecting him to choose sides. We found a balance that works for us. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being too hard, too unforgiving. But then I remember those 2 years of pain, of wondering what I'd done wrong, of missing milestones in my grandson's life. And I realize it's okay to forgive without forgetting, to move forward without going back to the way things were. We're all different people now. Maybe that's just how it has to be. Some wounds heal, but they leave scars. This experience has permanently changed our family dynamics. It's not the happy ending everyone wanted, but it's real. And sometimes, that's the best we can hope for.